I feel like shit.
Monday, happy days. Wednesday, happy days.
It's just one of those
happy days. The weekend comes, let's not go on.
It's just one of those days where you don't want to wake up. Everything is everybody sucks. You don't really know why, but you want to justify ripping someone's head off. No human contact, and if you interact, your life is on contract. Your best bet is
Knock it off, you scumbucket.
it's just one of those days. It's just one of those.
Happy days.
It's just one of those.
Happy days.
It's just one of those
Happy
days.
The weekend comes, let's not go on. Ready to extend.
It's just one of those days, feeling like a freight train. First one to complain, please with the bloodstain. Damn right, I'm a maniac. You better you cause I'm fucking up your program. And you go stuck up, you just locked up. Next in line to get fucked up. Your best bet is to stay away, motherfucker. It's just,
I'm losing my cool.
it's all about
Happy days.
it's just one of those,
Happy days.
it's just one of those days.
The weekend comes, let's not go on. Ready to extend.
Feel like shit. My suggestion is distance. Right now I'm dangerous. Right now I'm dangerous.
Something's happening to the bonds.
My day keeps going this way and this way.
I'm gonna pop you one so you'll stop playing games.
Give me something great. Give me something great. I hope you know I got a chainsaw. A chainsaw. A motherfucking chainsaw.
What?
So come and get it.
What we got here is a case of mistaken identity, you know? See, now this here,
Not Robert.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chief Moody, and welcome to episode 51 of the Mood of the Nation podcast. How is everybody doing this fine Sunday evening? Still cold. I think it's about now, 6 days till Christmas? I cannot believe it's getting closer and closer till the day. But hope everyone's doing well, and I'm glad everyone turned up. I see 18 people watching the show already, which again is really good stuff. And I want to thank many people from of course, Patreon Alternative, including Mark and PA Wales. I think a few people have shared it. I think Charlie shared it as well, which again, I really do appreciate that. And I know Joe has shared it for the PA Wales page on Telegram, which again, really do appreciate that. The more it gets out there, the more people will see the show, of course. Really great stuff. Let me just have a look and see who's in the chat just now. I think there's a lot of familiar faces. In fact, just Excel Viking, just real quick. Hold on. Evening, Chief and Midlings. Have you heard about the French and the Germans claiming the UK is a high variant with the moronic virus? I've not heard it from the French or the Germans, but I have seen something earlier on Telegram that a lot of other countries have quite low amount of that variant going around, but the UK is like very high on that variant, which is really really speaks a lot of volumes about that. There's a question here from Roscoe, even Chief and Troops. What do you think, Chief, of the Asylum's spoofers getting housed in swanky hotels all across Scotland? Well, that's something I want to cover in a few moments, because that's one of the topics we'll be discussing tonight. Because I know there's one, I've seen an article from the Falkirk Herald, so that's something we'll definitely cover. But before we get into that, I'll just address the chat just now. And then, of course, there's something I also want to cover as well. Just have a look here and see. Of course, we've got Corona. How you doing? Spiffy Acorn, how you doing? Thank you very much. Hey, I've got a big update to tell you guys, and I also have some questions to ask as well. That's fair enough. Indigenous Advocate, how you doing? Merry Christmas, Moody, and all nationalists and patriots watching the stream. Same to yourself, Indigenous. I appreciate you being here. Gammon Sandwich, I had proof this week. Much ado about nothing. Fair enough. I've graduated from college last Friday, so now I don't have that tying me down. I'm looking for a starting point for a trades-focused career that will give me useful skills beyond my degree's focus. Very fair point. I know there's a lot of people that do speak about trades regarding to that. Just once, if actually, I might as well see if I can find your next comment. I'm also making plans to avoid the jab and preparing for the fallout from my family, mainly mother, who trusts the glowy god box too much for their own good, or own good. Sorry. Let me see. At least all the backpacks I have will help and with clothes and such. And the Audi TT has more space to carry all of it. I hope Midi sees it. Well, that's me, of course, is here with that. So he effort post. Well, yeah, that's me seeing the your messages, Spiffy Acorn. So all I will say is just stand your ground and not take the vaccine. I know we've covered this multiple times from different various people and all of that, but with your case, definitely just take your stand and say, "Listen, I'm not going to take the vaccine. I don't trust it, and I refuse to take it." And if it does come to that point where they really have a massive fallout with you because of it, I would just stick to your guns and just basically leave and see if you can maybe stay at a friend's house or another family members who may agree with your politics or anything like that, or maybe just see if you can find yourself a hotel or motel or anything like that at all, just so you have a place to stay and all of that. So I wouldn't want you to living out in the streets or out in the cold for that matter. So I know that may suck, but I can imagine that's it's going to come down to that point, especially the time we're living in just now, where it's very, very divided when it comes to this whole COVID stuff, and now of course with this whole Omicron variant that's going on just now, and I have noticed a lot of people are speaking out against it, but there's still a lot of other people, like the other side of it, that are still very compliant. So when the government tells them you need to take another vaccine or booster, they'll just follow suit. Never question it or anything like that at all. They'll just question. No, 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 they'll just follow through. Like, yep, the government says so, so I better just take it. So sad state of affairs, but unfortunately, that's just the way it is at the moment. So hopefully you'll be okay, Spiffy Acorn. Just really stick to your guns, stand your ground, because that's what you believe in, and hopefully you'll be okay at the end of it. So hopefully with that, and also with the trades thing, I'll see if I can find you on Telegram or anything else, and maybe I can message you about that. See if I can get someone, another person who may know more about that, and maybe talk to you about that as well. Just so it gives you a bit of advice on what to do about that aspect in terms of working with trades and all of that. So, but hopefully you'll be okay, and hopefully nothing majorly bad will come out of it, of course. So, let me see. Corona. I've got a cousin who's gone into construction management. Well, there you go. That seems like a good field to be in. Definitely does sound a very good field of work to be in. Corona believers make me want to scream. One from English Rose. How you doing, English Rose? Hello, everyone, and a very Merry Christmas to you all. May it be wonderfully white. Same to yourself, English Rose, and I also appreciate you being here. Thank you very much. Rory Herbert, good evening, folks. Good evening to you too. Canny Hinney, even to you too. Kitchen Skillet, hello. How you doing? Thank you very much for watching the show. We also have English Sailor, as per usual. How you doing? Felix Boru, even though hope you're festive and in good health. 14. Same to yourself, Felix Boru. I appreciate you being here. Jemima, how you doing? Thank you very much for watching the show. Don't think I've seen you before, but if you're new, again, appreciate you being here. We also have Hightower 005. How you doing, Hightower? Thank you very much for being here. Turbo Duckhead, how you doing? Thank you very much. I think it's Joni, if or Johnny, but if I pronounce your name wrong, my apologies. But again, thank you very much for watching the show. I appreciate you being here. We also have Saramar. How you doing? Thank you very much. Mary Yule. Kingdom of Vinland. From the Kingdom of Vinland, I hope you're doing okay. Same to yourself, Kingdom of Vinland. Appreciate you being here. We also have Roger the Shrubber. How you doing, Roger? Appreciate you being here. Wow, there's a lot more comments coming through. Sorry, guys. Let me see. Corona, vax. Let me see. Chief Breedy, the jab isn't a vaccine, it's gene editing. I could definitely see that point there exactly. I really don't understand why people are still still hell bent on getting vaxxed, all because the government told them to fuck off. Let me see. Roy Herbert, Chief Mooney, did you hear that Delta Omicron is an anagram of media control? I've heard about the anagram for the Omicron. How is if you take the words and put them together completely differently, it's moronic. But no, that's quite news to me with that. Some people will say, well, this is very very coincidental, if that's even the word. But if that really is the case, then I wouldn't be surprised at this point. So really would not be surprised. Israel's oh dear. Macron, like the little manlet that he is, has banned the UK. Oh dear, it's getting really bad apparently when it comes to travel. I think that's me really up to date with that. Excellent. Oh, they are never going to let us live normal lives again, and it's going to be lockdown after lockdown. This recent restriction is spiteful and evil, especially at Christmas. It is. It definitely is, Exile Viking. It really is. Absolutely despicable they're still doing that. If I even remember last year, the big announcement of a third lockdown. I think it was the third lockdown, and I think that happened, what was it, like 5, maybe 4 days before Christmas. And I remember, and I was working at a call center at the time, and I would get these calls from people, mostly from England, of course, because that's normally the people that we get the calls from. And they would always tell me about like how this just news just came out of left field, and they were all prepared for Christmas, and then that bombshell dropped, and how they were all just, and of course, understandably so, we're all just pissed off about the whole thing because they were hoping to spend time with their families over during the Christmas break, but then that news came out, and now it's like they all had to stay indoors because of the whole lockdown restrictions, and it's sad, and it really is completely a scumbag move for the government to do that. And it seems to me that, and well, not just myself, but a lot of people in the chat are agreeing that it's definitely going to be happening all over again. And it seems a lot more people seem to be a lot more fine with it, which is just, it's madness. It really is utter madness. Doskin, how you doing? Howdy peeps, how's everything? Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you being here. Right, I think that's me all up to date with the chat just now. So we're 15 minutes into the show. I have a major update. Oh, sorry, one second. We also have Tony Smith. Hello, Tony. How you doing? Thank you very much for watching the show. I have a bit of an update I want to share with you guys. Anything too major or anything like that at all. I've started. Well, it's an account I've been using. Well, I had it active since I think last year, but long story short, I'm going to be using Entropy a lot more at this point. Now, it's not live at the moment. Let me just double check and see if it is live. I highly doubt it because I did try and see if I can get it up and running, but it seems I need DLive to get it up and running if it wants to be live at the same time. No, it's offline, right? That's fine. Now, the thing with Entropy is that, and I don't know if I'm able to answer any questions because it could be paid or unpaid, but with Entropy, I've been thinking about this for a while now. I even talked about this on the show multiple times in terms of wanting to maybe make a living out of like doing this and all of that. So, because I know there's been other people in the chat who've asked me, from time and time again, would ask me, is there any way we can support you financially? And I would just be like, well, I mean, it's a very kind gesture, but I would appreciate, just keep sharing my work and all of that. So, well, I've been thinking about this for a while. In fact, I could even say I've been thinking about this ever since the big reveal of my docs with the Hope Not Hate article. Now, I know I've talked about this before, but I think this definitely does tie into that. So the good thing about this whole thing is that I've never been called up or been questioned about it or anything like that at all. But the reality still stands for me that it's going to come to the point now where it's going to completely come back to bite me in the arse in terms of job employment and all of that. So not to say that I want to make this my primary job or anything like that at all. I see it more as like a backup type of thing. Where I produce content, whether it be live streaming or maybe just singular videos, if I do get to that ever again, which I probably might start doing that more for next year, 2022. And of course, if there's people in the chat that definitely want to support me financially, it would be like any amount with that, then the option is there now. So, and also when I'm saying this, when it comes to my entropy or even my Kofi link that I've just opened up today, I just want to also make something very clear as well to everyone. Please don't feel as if you're obligated to. I don't know if that's even the right word, but please don't feel as if because I'm saying this, because you've been watching my content for a while, please don't feel as if like, oh, well, that must mean I need to give them some money. Definitely not what I'm trying to come off as or anything like that at all. What I'm trying to say here is for people that wanted to support me financially for a while, the option is there now. So with my Entropy or even my Kofi account, if you want to donate some like money or anything like that at all, then it's there. So if you want to donate money, especially when it comes to Entropy, because I know many people in our circles use it for questions and all of that, paid or unpaid. So if you want to support me with that, say like a paid question, that would be awesome. I would appreciate you doing that. If you don't want to pay any money for it, if it be like an unpaid question, again, that's also awesome for you to do that. Especially Kofi, if you want to donate £1 for myself or anything like that, again, that would be awesome. If you don't, again, that's also awesome. My point again is the option is there now. So if you want to support me financially, then my Entropy is there and my Kofi account is also there as well. So regarding to that, I wonder if I can maybe post the links in the chat just for people again, just so I can get them up as well with that. So here's the link for my Entropy. Now it may say as not found, but it definitely, if you click on it, then it definitely will take you directly to my Entropy link, and then I'll finally put on Spiffy Acorn. You've got a perfect viewer to like Ratio Moody. Well, that's good. That's good to hear, Spiffy. Thank you for that. And I'll also put the link for my. Is it Kofi or Coffee? I can never really. It's like KO-FI, which it's just a really bizarre name for a website. But anyway, those are the links for those places as well. So feel free with that. So the option is there with regard to that. So anyway, I just thought I would get that out of the way, just so that you have a bit of an update. If no dislikes, well, well, I mean, I think YouTube, of course, as we all know, have completely taken away the dislikes, but I know there is an option to add like an add-on sort of thing. You can see the dislike ratio, but anyway, so I just thought I'd put that out there that I'm starting to possibly, make some form of income with it. As I said, I might want to make this as like a not even like a secondary job, but maybe as like a backup type of job kind of thing. So, and there we go with that in this case. So the option is there now. So if you want to support me financially, then there you go. The links are in the chat just now. And there we go with that. So perfect. I think what I'll do now is move on to the next topic at hand. Right. So I want to start off. I'm also going to say now as well, I think this is mainly going to be an SMP type of themed episode tonight. Because there's been a lot of stuff been coming out with the SMP, especially when it comes to the pupil sex census that's been really being talked about all across the nation. Hello, Ugly Truth. How you doing? Thank you very much for watching the show. Right, so let me have a look and see if I can get this up, which of course will be the first article. Now, the first article, I want to kind of go back to where it all kind of first started, which I think it was back in the summer. It was either June or July. And then we'll start off with that. And then we'll get on to the current stuff that's being talked about at the moment. So let me see if I can get this up just now. And then we'll just get right into the first topic. Now, this article is from the Press and Journal. And I remember it saying it was published in July. It should pop up here just now. July 28th, 2016. Okay, so this is going way back, about 5 years ago. So again, like I said, I did want to start off with going through a bit of a timeline and like going from the beginning all the way up to the current stuff with that. So Let me just see if I can share the screen, and then we'll get right into this page here. So, Supreme Court blocks named person scheme, branding elements unlawful. And if I can have a look at this part here, judges at the Supreme Court have today blocked the Scottish Government's controversial named person scheme, branding aspects of it unlawful. Dubbed the state snooper scheme, the named person law has endured many months of hostility from the public and hard questions for the First Minister Nicola Sturgeon and her deputy John Sweeney. The scheme sought to appoint a state official for every child in Scotland to monitor their well-being, defined as happiness. This included powers to access and share private data on children and parents and to provide advice. One government-funded leaflet named persons would even check whether a child was given to say in what they watch on TV. Top UK judges today unanimously, I hope I pronounced that right, rule part of the 2014 legislation is incompatible with Article 8 of the European Convention of Human Rights in relation to family life and privacy because of its information sharing provisions in one part of the Act. In one devastating line from the judgment, the Supreme Court justices observed the first thing that a totalitarian regime tries to do is to get at the children, to distance them from the subversive varied influences of their families and indoctrinate them in their rulers' view of the world, which is clearly something that we definitely are seeing when it comes to the mainstream media and all of that. Let me see here. I wonder if it does get into. However, the court said the aim of the act was unquestionably legitimate and benign overall. The judgment ruled that the principle of providing a named person for every child does not breach human rights and is compatible with EU law and rejected a claim the legislation relates to reserved matters. The justices said the Scottish Government must change its information sharing provisions regarding the scheme so that they are compatible with Article 8 of the European Convention of Human Rights. As presently drafted, they would risk breaching regulations, protecting privacy and confidentiality of families and children. Judges have given the Scottish Government 42 days to rectify their legislation. Justice of the Supreme Court, Lord Hodge, delivered the court's verdict. He said, "We reached two conclusions. First, the information sharing provisions of 2014 Act are incompatible with the rights of children, young persons, and parents under Article 8 of the European Convention on Human Rights." So this is just like the starting point when it comes to this at the moment. So let me have a look here and see if I will even also do is if you want to have a look at that further, you can have a look in the article here in the chat. Hello, Amanda Lee, how you doing? Thank you very much for watching the show. In fact, there was a comment made here with that. Hold on. The Catholic Church were the best at that. Give me a child until he is 7, and I will give you man. Fair enough, Amanda. So there was a link for that article we just had a look at just now. So I'm going to have a look and see if I can get into the current stuff now, and then start from there because what people have been talking about, especially in this country, there has been a pupil sex census here in Scotland. Now, the aim for this is for pupils who are in years are S4 to S6. So that's really the ages, from what I remember, I believe it's the ages between 14 to 17 years of age. I think I'm not entirely too sure, but I think I might be on the right page when it comes to the age length from S4 to S6. So let me have a look and see if I can get this up here with this. And then there'll be something like an aftermath kind of thing when it comes to Kevin. What was his? Kevin Stewart, MSP. Yeah, we'll definitely cover that in a moment. Right, so copy and paste that here, and then I'll share the screen again. Start off with that. Let's have a look. So this is from the Herald. Not fit for purpose, Scottish Conservatives call for withdrawal of pupils' sex census. Right. Are we still going? Sorry, hold on 1 second. Right. Should pass the time. Sorry about that, folks. That's me back. Internet had a booster jab. I don't know what happened there, but for some reason, I didn't even notice. I was just too busy reading the article, and I checked my phone to see YouTube on there to see if everything was working fine. And that's when I saw the messages popped up about that. So I don't know what the hell happened. So hopefully the connection will be okay now. But that's just terrific. I was actually going on like a diatribe there just now regarding to the S&P. Maybe if I can ask the chat real quick, what part did we get up to before the connection cut off there? Did you hear a vast majority of that, or is it something that I need to kind of go over again? Because obviously I don't want to go through the article all over again. So, just in case, if just getting 50 pence off neighbor for the lecky meter. I blame Corbyn armies at home. Oh God. Did Nicholas stop by for tea? Oh God, come back, baby. Oh my God. Need subtitles with that. This feels a bit permanent. Chief Rudy is already a laundry basket being hustled down the fire escape. God damn it. Right, so the time we were worried that they had nabbed you. No, I'm okay. It's fine. Thank the gods. We got to the S&P bit. Right, go over again. God damn it. Right. I'll just say it very briefly in this case of what I mentioned, what I was reading in that article. Basically, there's a lot of outrage with this pupil sex census. So, um, a lot of intrusive, very inappropriate questions to ask pupils between year groups of S4 to S6. Of course, if I can get the questions up here, of course, questions like people have varying degrees of sexual experiences. How much, if any, sexual experiences have you had? And of course, some of the questions there. Another example of this would be the most recent time you had vaginal or anal sex, penetrative sex. Did you or the other person use a condom, etc., etc.? The most recent time you had a penetrative vaginal sex, did you or the other person use anything prevent pregnancy? Basically those types of questions, which, as I said, do come off as incredibly intrusive and very inappropriate to ask any child for that matter, not just between the year groups of S4 to S6. And I would imagine if you were to ask any adult this type of question, it would be very uncomfortable to ask, or even to answer that. If of course, if you're someone who gets asked that. And the point I was making regarding to that there just now is that I know there are many people who do support this type of pupil sex census. Now, I think there can be an argument to be made that the people within the SNP who do support this, including Sturgeon herself, I think there's a point to be made that that those people are complete nonsense or pedophiles. So I'll even going as far as saying this to people who are not SNP politicians, but who are SNP supporters. If you're somebody who supports the SNP and you see these questions and you think, yeah, that's completely fine, completely normal questions to ask to any child for that matter, then I'm just going to point out just now that you are a fucking pedophile. No ifs, ands, or buts, because if you someone who completely supports these types of questions, then I think not only does your morality come into question, but I think you should stay as far away from children as humanly possible. Because I don't know how you can ask any child of any age those types of questions in terms of, oh, have you ever had any vaginal or anal sex, and if so, have you or your partner or someone you were with wore a condom? Well, that's none of your fucking business. Like, what kind of question is that to ask a child? Well, never mind the fact it's not anything to do with the business, to do with their business, but the fact is it's incredibly inappropriate. Wait, and another point I was making before that whole thing happened during the stream, um, Nicola Sturgeon herself tried to justify it because there was someone within the Scottish Parliament, brought this all up and asked her and, of course, her SNP lackeys, do you think this is very appropriate to ask questions like this to children? And of course, her response is, well, we must be prepared for the future generation of our children, blah, 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 and basically asking these types of questions just so that children can be aware at an early age of the different types of sexual preferences there are in the world. And it's such fucking bullshit. Like, it, not only are these questions, I know it sounds like I'm repeating myself here, which I do apologize, but not only do these questions come off as incredibly inappropriate and incredibly intrusive, and also very uncomfortable to ask or even ask or to be asked. But you can say that these types of questions are all part of the dismantling or the deconstruction of the traditional family unit. Because it's all about wanting children to believe that they have their own rights. Never mind what the parents think. No, fuck them. Yeah, they're your mom and dad or your step parents or whatever, but nah, fuck them. Like, they're not that important. What is important is that your rights matter, your choices matter, and all of that. It's so transparent what they're doing, and it's incredibly fucking disgusting. And again, I'll just say this again regarding to that. Sorry, excuse me, but also just real quick, hello Joe, how you doing? Thank you very much for watching the show and also for sharing the stream. But to those people, more specifically the SNP supporters, who looks at these questions and think, yeah, that's completely fine. You're a fucking pedophile. Simple as. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You're a fucking nonce. You're a pedophile, and you should be absolutely ashamed of yourself for actually thinking that these types of questions are absolutely a-okay to ask, or even just thinking about asking these questions. It's beyond a shadow of a doubt of the type of society groups like the SNP really wants us to be becoming. It's disgusting. It really is fucking disgusting. Now, with all that being said, and yes, you're absolutely right. Well, SNP, the party for pedophiles, absolutely. I mean, they pretty much are at this point, because there's no any justification of. I was just going to. Sorry, I'll just say again. There's absolutely no justification to ask these types of questions to any child. Period. There's no justification for that. So it's just really unbelievable. English Rose, real quick. Questions like this aimed at children could only be conceived in a sick mind. This is vile. Indeed, it is. Absolutely. It's very vile and absolutely disgusting. Now, because of all this big blowout, there was actually a stream I watched where they did talk about this as well. A very good stream, in fact. Let me just quickly bring us up the name of the channel, but it was like a group type of chat. 3 people that were on it, and it was actually really good stuff to watch. Let me just quickly see if I can find it in my likes. Parent forum hashtag not with my child, and it's from a channel called Tweet Street Occupied. So let me just see if I can put the link in the chat. So if you guys want to check it out yourselves, then it'll be there for you guys to watch and see their perspective on that. Back onto here real quick, and then here we go. So I'll just post that here real quick, and for you guys to have a look at whether it be later on or even now, and then you can watch it now and then come back later on if you want to. So perfect. Now to the next part. Well, I say next part, but it's kind of like the closing part of this entire subject we're discussing here, because obviously, as I mentioned just now, besides that stream, a lot of people have been talking about this, and a lot of people are, of course, understandably so, are not happy with this whatsoever. Many parents across Scotland are just absolutely outraged by these types of questions being brought up. Now, because this is all being brought up, in fact, let me just get another person in question here, and this is from the Daily Record. This is all about an SNP minister called Kevin Stewart. Just get this up here real quick. I'm sure his tweet will also be featured in the Daily Record article as well, just to make a point. So what I'll do is I'll just get back onto here. Kingdom of Vinland. Hold on. Oh yeah, I need to click on this again. Whoops. Let's see here. A quick point made by Kingdom of Vinland, real quick. These bastards must be publicly executed via blood eagle. I think I've heard. I know what the blood eagle is. I think it's all to do with like, if I remember correctly. I hope I don't sound too graphic or anything like that at all. But it's something that the Vikings used to do. But they would remove the skin or the meat from your back, and then they would pull out the rib, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if that may be correct in saying that, but I think it's something to do with that, with the blood eagle. But as brutal as that may sound, I could definitely see that type of execution with that Kingdom of Vinland. Ugly truth: the parents should stand together and confront the head teacher / school governors. Exactly, definitely. I'll be back on the stream soon. Yep, definitely, Joe. Excellent. Right, the Daily Record article. So this one's here. This was published on the 14th of December, so about 5 days ago. SNP minister hits out at disgusting homophobic abuse he received on social media. Oh, lordy, here we go. Kevin Stewart, Minister of Mental Wellbeing and Social Care, he said the abuse that politicians face on a daily basis is a very serious problem. The article was written by Peter Davidson, and of course, 14th of December, as we talked about just now. Fuck off notification. Right, here we go. And there's Kevin Stewart right there. So let's have a read through this article real quick. An SNP MSP has hit out after being targeted by disgusting homophobic abuse on social media. Kevin Stewart, Minister for Mental Wellbeing and Social Care, took to Twitter to call out a troll who sent him a message after he posted about taking the COVID literal flow test. The MSP for Aberdeen Central said the abuse that politicians face on a daily basis is a very serious problem. So basically, it's a very serious problem of receiving mean messages or mean tweets by common people. The amount of audacity these fucking politicians have is unreal. Stewart posted a picture on Sunday evening, December 12th, about returning a negative coronavirus test. He captioned the snap, "Another test done, and I am grateful for another negative result. If you want to battle COVID and protect our NHS, then please test regularly. You can collect tests from," and of course, blah, 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 blah. So here's the tweet in question. Now, this tweet right here, that this may be somewhat of a different theme in terms of what we're talking about, but you can kind of make the argument that this kind of ties into the whole pupil sex census that we talked about just now, because the question that was being brought up about this was, Kevin, when did you last have anal sex? Which, I mean, I know some people may view that as a bit of a troll moment, but some people would say it can be, in terms of the whole pupil sex census that's going on just now, and everyone's talking about it. You can maybe make an argument that it could be a pretty valid argument to be brought up, in many way as a way of kind of asking members of the SNP these types of same or similar type of questions. And of course, Kevin's response to that would be, "I see the homophobes have come out to play tonight." Like, okay. Like, again, you can just see the fucking audacity from these people. It's completely fine for the SNP and everyone else from that camp asking children these inappropriate questions, but as soon as you yourself ask a question to any one of them from the SNP, just either to troll them or even just to make a point about this, all of a sudden they turn into the victim. Like, "Oh, how dare you write such a tweet like this to me?" This is what us politicians get on a daily basis, which this whole pretentious fucking argument I keep hearing from these politicians is absolutely staggering to me, because at the end of the day, if these politicians don't want these types of questions being asked or any responses to them all across social media, not just Twitter, then don't open a fucking account. Because at the end of the day, Kevin Stewart and Nicola Sturgeon and all these other people, you're public figures. Your whole job is to represent the people of this country. And of course, if there's a point you put out on a public platform for many people to go on and see, there's going to be people who will agree with you. And here's a big shocker. The other side of that, there's going to be people who will disagree with you. Oh, I can't imagine that, right? Especially you being, as I mentioned, a public figure. If people disagree with you, they're going to be fucking vocal about that. I mean, there's no other way around it. I mean, yeah, you can block them, but that just goes to show that you're only interested in hearing people from who agree with your own perspective, and anyone who disagrees with you in any way, shape, or form, you just either mock them or block them or even want their lives ruined and get the fucking police involved. It's absolutely fucking shameful. I wonder if there's anything more with the article, and then we'll finish it off from there. Also, just want to make sure the connection is still okay with it. All teachers leave the kids alone. I think that's from a Pink Floyd song, if I'm not mistaken. We don't need no education. Yeah. Uh, great reference to that. A Twitter user replied, a Twitter user replied to Kevin by saying, "Are you paying for this at Kevin Stewart SMP? Thought not." In response, Stewart wrote, "They are free for all, paid for by our taxpayers to stop the spread of COVID, to save lives, and to protect our NHS." Which is really funny considering the current state with the NHS. Basically, with this whole new variant that's coming about, the British government are really trying to push this whole booster and vaccines onto people to the point where when it comes to the NHS staff, if you still refuse to be vaccinated, then sorry, you're going to have to be let go from your job. So when this whole thing first started, it started as the NHS workers are doing their damnedest to protect the lives of millions across the nation, and we should applaud them for their heroism and all of that. To now we get to December of 2021. If they're not been vaccinated, fuck them. They're basically they're possibly murderers and want to kill people because they're not being vaccinated. The fucking scumbags our politicians are. It's absolutely unfucking real. Another user at F9 to Zulu replied to Stuart. They posted, "Kevin, when did you last have anal sex?" That, of course, we mentioned just now, and that's the response the minister made. Stewart said the abuse he received was not surprising, quote unquote. Okay, so why you make it out that it is surprising? Because even with this, he comes off as trying to be a fucking victim at the end of the day. But anyway, that he will continue to call out people who posted abusive messages on social media. He told the Daily Record, "The recent homophobic nonsense I received online is disgusting, but unfortunately not surprising. As a society, we have come a long way in regards to LGBT plus Q, LMNOP, whatever letters there are now, rights and acceptance, but we still have so far to go. There is no question that the abuse and threats that elected representatives face is a very serious problem. Just fucking block them." In fact, I think there's even like a new feature on Twitter. You can basically hide some of the users that you don't want seeing your tweets or something like that. So what's the issue? But anyway, with the distance and anonymity of social media giving people a new space for their vile behavior, oh, here we go. This whole idea, oh, if these people would never say this out in public, but because they're anonymous online, that they could just say such vile points being made. And it's like, look, people have a right to be anonymous, and I think there is a good reason why, especially people here in Britain, are anonymous, because we're living in a society where we have all of these hate speech legislations. Where basically, if you're online, even if you have your full name out there, if your face is out there, your email and all of that, your place of work and all of that, if it's now come to the point where if you go on social media as yourself and you post whatever tweet or message that gets put out there, then you could possibly be arrested. You could be thrown in prison for it. You could have your life ruined, your job, career, and all of that taken away from you. Your friends and family will probably want nothing to do with you anymore because they'll probably get heckled based on the whole uh, guilty by association aspect to it, which again is just really awful. So again, people have a right to be anonymous, and for this quote regarding to that, I think that just speaks major volumes. And then maybe this is me looking too deep into it, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's the type, if this Kevin Stewart fella is the type of gentleman who, well, gentleman, I use that term loosely, is the type of gentleman that would want to have more anti-anonymity laws applied with all across Scotland, as a way of trying to dismantle the trolls and all of that. Which I mean, look, people will find a way regardless and all of that. But anyway. It is also clear that if you are part of a marginalized group like women, LGBT plus, or BAME, then it is worse. This is true online or offline. Right. Okay. So let's put that to practice then, shall we? Never mind the fact that last year, when the whole BLM riots happened, that all these major corporations were out of the woodwork supporting George Floyd and BAME people and all of those people combined, right? Never mind the fact that we have women's what was it called exactly? Is it Women's History Month or something like that? Being plastered all across the social media platforms all day on that. Never mind the fact that Men's History Month, I think it might be called that. I'm not entirely too sure, but that never gets promoted. Never ever gets promoted whatsoever. Never mind the fact that every June or July, again, when it comes to the LGBT movement, it gets promoted heavily by all these major corporate entities. And then almost the day after, they completely just go back to their original avatars and all of that. But of course, that's beside the point. So this entire idea that these groups of people are being marginalized is completely fucking bullshit. If anything, they're being used as part of the system to dismantle and take away everything that makes us who we are, the traditional family unit, our history, our culture, etc., etc. They're using these groups of people to try and dismantle everything that we stand for. It's so fucking transparent what they're doing here with that. Another quote from them, and then we'll finish this off. This is a complex societal problem, and as much as I'd like there to be, there is not one simple solution. This is going to take people uniting, uniting, right, with a shared determination. Oh, sorry, excuse me, to find meaningful ways to tackle the issue. Until then, I will continue to call out the abuse for what it is because it's important that we recognize the extent of the problem, end quote. And that's the end of the article. So basically, long story short, it sounds like Kevin Stewart, MSP for the SNP, is a complete whiny fuck. Well, all these politicians, to be fair, are all whiny fucks. Like, oh, these common people responding to my tweet negatively. How dare they? It's like, well, as I said before, at the end of the day, you're public figures. You go on a public platform and you post a public tweet or message that many other people will come to see. And of course, as I said, there's going to be people who will agree with it, and there's going to be people who will disagree with it. And yeah, there's going to be some people who will, troll or anything like that. But that's the fucking internet. It happens. Get over it, or better yet, just get off the fucking platform. Honestly, but of course, we all know it's complete bullshit. Anyway, we all know it's all part of an even bigger agenda. Not going to mention it again because I just said it earlier on in terms of the dismantling of the family unit, etc., and all of that. It's so Jish, it's ridiculous. Yes, I agree. We don't need a Men's History Month, or our European history and achievements would need an entire century to name. They can have their pathetic month. Fair enough. Very enough. A very fair point to make with that. A bunch of us trolled the post office into talking about gay sex pretty much every day during LGBT month. I'm sure that they must have felt very uncomfortable talking about that. So let me see here. Why are dissidents in the Soviet Union anonymous? That's a pretty good question. Very good question. I really hope this isn't the case, but the next move is to legalize pedophilia. Well, I really hope that doesn't come to that, but in terms of the current state we're living in just now, and of course, as we just talked about with the People Sex Survey, or census, I should say, I wouldn't be surprised if something like that were to be in the talks. In fact, you could even say it's been going on for a long time, and I think the biggest example of that would be, I think, last year or earlier on this year, with of course the release of Cuties. You know, that was a big thing that happened at the time, and there was many people that supported the film, many people really despised the film, and I think that opened the doors of the establishment elite trying to implement pedophilia as as a form of normality into society. So I don't think we're there just yet, but I wouldn't be surprised maybe later on. This was them with the film Cuties testing the waters and see if people will accept it. Of course, it completely backfired on them, and of course, rightfully so. And I would imagine the establishment elite will look at that and think, right, okay, it didn't work that time, but we'll try again at some point, and then this time people will accept it. So I really hope that it doesn't happen like that, but I wouldn't be surprised at the end of the day. I wouldn't be surprised if there would be some group of people that will try and push it down everyone's throat as a form of normality. Like, you must accept this as a form of a normal way of sexuality, of course. That's what the plus is in LGBTQ plus. It's Bacon's, right? Fair point. Fair point. Excuse me. Peter Walker, how you doing? Just got home from my brother's. They had country file on, going on about homing illegals and Afghans in rural Scotland. Put my anger levels up. Oh, I think that's something that actually we'll cover just now, to be honest, because I think we just covered all the stuff with the SNP and all of that. But long story short, with the SNP, it's a party of pedophiles, and of course, if not pedophiles, then it's a party that supports pedophilia. And if you're a supporter of the SNP, and most importantly, if you support this pupil sex census and think it's okay, you're a fucking pedophile. End of fucking story. Real quick from English Rose, they write, legalizing pedophilia is the next goal, I think. It's on the fringes and they keep trying to normalizing it. They are planting the seeds. Yes, and a very good point with that, especially with the film Cuties. You could say they're planting the seeds with that, trying to see if that's going to make people, make people feel normal, or have it be normalized within society. As I said, completely backfired, and for them, they're probably thinking, right, it didn't work like that, but we'll try again next time with that. So, Exile Viking, online trolls are scumbags in the majority of times, but there have been some exceptional when trolls targeted the Iranian government's website and gone massive outrage. Excellent. Let's see. SMP, scummy, narcissistic pedos. Yes, I agree. That's a very good name for that. Right, let's move on to the next topic, which is something that was brought up to my attention by Roscoe, and I believe Peter Walker brought this up just now. Just want to make sure. Yeah, Peter Walker as well. It's something we're going to talk about. The migrants or the Afghans moving over across Scotland. I do have an article up here about this. Now, this is from one place in Scotland, of course, being Falkirk. This is from the Falkirk Herald, where it does talk about that. So let's have a look at this just now, and then we'll move on to something else after that. So let me see if I can get this up real quick. Oops. And then we'll start with that. Even just before I go over the article, I just want to make sure again that the connection is running smoothly. Because of course I don't want that happening again. What happened earlier on. So right. Okay. Let's have a look at this here. Yep, stream is working fine as it is. That is completely fine with me. I think we'll just move on, or at least get started with the article itself, written by the Falkirk Herald. And then we shall start from there. Right, okay. That's fine with me. Perfect. So I'll just share the screen real quick and then we'll go from there with that. So, asylum seekers being housed in unsuitable hotel accommodation in Falkirk. Concerns have been raised after it was revealed around 50 asylum seekers are are staying in a hotel in Falkirk. Written by Jill Buchanan. The article itself was published on the 25th of November. Now, that may be like a while back ago, but I think it's still prevalent just now, especially what people in the chat have been saying about this. So, let's have a look at this here real quick. I don't know if that's a video that's going to be popping up, but if it is, maybe we can have a look at that real quick and then see if we can get onto that just now. News you can trust since 1845. Okay, fair enough. Right, hopefully it's still working fine with the connection, so that should be all right. Try that again. If the video doesn't come up, then we'll just get right into the article itself with that. So it looks like it isn't. That's fine. I'm sure we can. I don't think we'll need a video anyway. That should be all right. So, as it reads here, council chiefs have hit out at the decision by the UK Home Office to use the hotel, saying it is totally unsuitable. They say that partners in health, social care, housing, and the third sector back up their views. The asylum seeker is understood to be all male and mainly from Eritrea, I think I pronounce it, in East Africa, have been in Falkirk for around 6 weeks. Jesus. Sorry for using the Lord's name in vain, but my God. The moves comes as the Home Office expands its use of hotel accommodation in Scotland, with properties in Aberdeen and Perth also ready to be used. They have been placed by Mears, the private contractor that houses asylum seekers for the Home Office. At the start of the pandemic, asylum seekers were housed in hotels in Glasgow as an emergency measure. Now, I believe that's something that was talked about last year, if I'm not mistaken. There was a certain event that happened with that. However, following a knife incident in one of the city's hotels last year, which left 6 people injured, no new asylum seekers have been taken by Glasgow. Gee, I wonder why. It can't be because of this one migrant who attacked other people simply because he didn't get the food he wanted. No. It's because we just couldn't risk any of the other what was it, like more injuries being occurred by other people. It can't be that, of course. But anyway, moving on. The Home Office, which provides free accommodation to asylum seekers, which applications are being considered, has said Glasgow is the only area to have taken part in the dispersal scheme since it began 2 decades ago. Falkirk Council leader Cecil Michael John, what kind of fucking name is that? Anyway, said while the area had a proud tradition of accepting refugees, did it? I don't fucking recall that, but anyway, she was concerned about the lack of consultation by the Home Office. She added that while understanding the pressures the Home Office is under the increasing numbers of asylum seekers arriving, she was concerned lessons that had not been learned from Glasgow. It is understood that the local authority was contacted with the decision only a short time before the asylum seekers arrived in the district. Cecil Meikle-John, leader of Falkirk Council, said, "We have concerns about the suitability of accommodating asylum seekers in hotels, the site of the hotel chosen, and the lack of any meaningful consultation by the Home Office with the Council or any of the other public bodies impacted by their decision." This is, of course, a quote from them, I believe. However, we will work with the Home Office and the company managing the placements on their behalf to provide relevant supports to the people placed in the hotel. We have supported the planned resettlement of refugees in Falkirk and continue to do so. I just also want to make a point real quick: is why is it that this Cecil has I'm curious. Like, why is it that? Because of course, when it comes to Falkirk, I mean, from what I know, is that there is a bit of a homeless problem going on at the moment. Maybe not as big or as much as say like maybe Glasgow or anything like that at all. But it really just makes you wonder, and it really makes you think, why is it that they seem to care more about these refugees or these migrants than they care about any of the of our homeless people in our own home country? It's almost like it's part of the bigger agenda of trying to replace the native population. But no, that's me being a conspiracy theorist when it comes to the Great Replacement and all of that, right? Anyway, moving on. We have supported the planned resettlement of refugees in Falkirk and continue to do so. Falkirk has had a proud tradition of accepting refugees and values the contribution that they have brought to the local area. Kenneth Laurie, Chief Executive, said, "We are keen to reiterate our serious doubts about the Home Office's choice of hotel accommodation, which colleagues across health, social care, housing, and the third sector agree is unsuitable for long-term stay. The Home Office is aware of our concerns, which were raised following a very late notification. A Home Office spokesperson said other councils need to step up and play their part too. They added, as a result of the lack of volunteers for the dispersal scheme, the Home Office is forced to find contingency hotel accommodation to house asylum seekers. Our new plan for immigration will fix the broken system and aims to reform the asylum system to make it fair but firm, enabling us to offer support to those most in need while returning those without a genuine right to remain in the UK." That's the article in this case. So yeah, it's happening. If you thought it was only because I know there's people in my country, Scottish people that say, "Oh, well, it's not our problem," but oh, of course, but no, of course, you can see that we never get any of these problems here in Scotland. Well, I mean, for any Scottish people watching just now, guess what? That's happening here as well. They're trying to house all of these migrants into our hotels as well. Regarding to that, it's yeah, even a good point here from English Rose, or a question from English Rose. How is it they can pull out all the stops from migrants, but our homeless are continuously ignored? Well, it's a very simple answer for that, English Rose, and that's because these politicians, these council people, all these people in charge and all of that have a complete resentment for our own people. They don't give a damn about our people. They don't give a damn about our homeless or people who are really in need. But they'll definitely will help out all of these migrants and all these people from foreign lands because it's our obligation to help these people out. Never mind the fact that that the general population do not want these people in these countries whatsoever, or in our country whatsoever. But no, that doesn't matter because accept them for being here, or else you're a bigot. Another, yeah, these people. That's a running meme now. But there's another point to be made that you could say all of these people in charge are all part of the agenda, which of course is the Great Replacement agenda. By basically housing all of these migrants into the country, whether they're coming here legal or illegal, they just want us, the indigenous people of these islands, England, Scotland, Wales, or Ireland, etc., they want us replaced. They want us gone. And the way to do that is by bringing all these migrants into the countries and trying to have them be housed in any way, shape, or form. And it's so transparent, like what they're doing. This whole thing about, oh, it's our obligation to help these people, which again, English Rose makes a valid point. Is virtue signaling, which is virtue signaling, is like for virtue points, but deep down, these groups of people, these politicians, these council people, and all of that, they don't give a fuck. They don't care. Do you really think for a second that they're actually happy of bringing these migrants into, say, their own home areas? They wouldn't do that. Oh no, don't bring. Yeah, I'm all in favor of these migrants moving into the country, but I live in this fancy house, or this all white area. Don't have them move over here where I live, but move into these areas, these of course working class areas, might I add. Those people will integrate well. Just have them move over there. Yeah, that's great. That'll be fine and dandy. It's so transparent. It's so fucking transparent. Toby Radley, real quick. Just got back from PA Southeast Xmas hike. Oh, that's good. It's nice to see that PA Southeast are still quite active, even though it's coming up to Christmas. But especially with that, having a hike with that, it's actually really good with regard to that. Real good stuff. English Rose again. If being a bigot and racist means advocating for our own, then I embrace the term. You should. Definitely you should with that, English Rose. Definitely a good point with that. Well, Martin, these people. Adam Miller. They housed some in Sheffield, and one of them was so dumb he fell out the window. Oh, no. No, God. But no, like I really appreciate that comment, English Rose, like because that's very true with that. If it means to be a bigot and racist, to actually care about our own people, then embrace it. Definitely. Actually, for that, people in the chat, can we give English Rose a 14 in the chat for that comment? I think she definitely does deserve that. Don't you think? I definitely think so. Yeah, I would imagine you'd be knackered, Toby. Definitely knackered after that. So more windows. The fall guy. Dear. Dear. Actually, it's something I kind of want to go back onto real quick in terms of let me see the article we read almost at the very start. I think it was like the second overall article about the census. Let me have a look and see if I can get that up here again. Which one? Oh yeah, the Conservatives, the Scottish Conservatives want to withdraw it. Because there's something about that. I think there's some councils that wanted to withdraw that as well because, again, they thought it was very inappropriate and, of course, very intrusive. I don't know if it might. It's from the Herald, as I talked about before. This is where, of course, the issues with the connection start to occur. But let me see if I can actually see if I can find. Oh, fuck off, Herald. Right. Here we go. Yeah, so I'll just bring this up here real quick. Everyone's put 14 in the chat. That's excellent for English Rose and blushes. Oh, dear. Spiffy Acorn. These stories give me enough anger and energy to shovel my family's driveway, even through all the ice. I can imagine so, Spiffy Acorn. I mean, I would imagine that this would make people very angry with this. The one thing I want to go back real quick, as I mentioned, is the pupil sex census we talked about. Because even though we talked about how very blackpilling it is, that this is what's going on in the Scottish education system, there is a bit of a white pilling with this, and I'll show you this why that would be the case from the Herald again. I'll just share the screen here real quick with that, and it's from here. So the council is one of 8 that have refused to participate. The others are Falkirk, East Lothian, Mid Lothian, Aberdeenshire, North Lancashire, Aberdeen, and Highland. 12 councils have. Sorry, I just want to make sure that's correct in this case. So basically, the councils here, the ones I've just listed just now, they're the ones who refuse to participate of having the pupil sex census to be implemented into the school system. So basically, they'll not ask these types of questions to any of the school pupils in their respected regions, which for that, completely respect that. It's nice to see that there's actually some people within Scotland, or at least some people within the councils of within Scotland do have some form of morality going. I mean, yes, we just talked about Falkirk Council wanting to house these migrants into the country, but I mean, this part here, at least they looked at this sex census and were like, no, this comes off as incredibly pedophilic, so we're not going to support that or ask these type of questions to our children whatsoever. 12 councils have said they are reviewing its content, which are East Dunbartonshire, East Renfrewshire, West Dunbartonshire, Argyll and Bute, South Lanarkshire, East Ayrshire, Shetland, Fife, Inverclyde, North Ayrshire, Scottish Borders, this could be a really Gaelic name, Cumherald, and then Aileen Sear. And I know people say, you're Scottish, you should know what that says, but sorry, some of them can be quite hard to pronounce. And then lastly, the 10 local authorities that are distributing the census are Glasgow City, of course, Perth, and Kinross, Stirling, Angus, South Ayrshire, Moray, Clackmannanshire, Dundee, fucking Dundee, of course, Dumfries, and Galloway and Renfrewshire, sorry. City of Edinburgh Council is distributing it, having excluded questions that we felt would present difficulties. Right, okay. So the first 8 councils I got here on my mouse just now. Again, good stuff that they're not showcasing the census. These councils here, they're reviewing it, but hopefully a vast majority of these ones will, of course, see through the BS and not bother implementing it into their school systems as well. And these ones can definitely go fuck themselves. So anyway, just thought I would bring that up because that was something I wanted to mention during that part of the stream before the connections was going haywire when it comes to that. So anyway, I think so. We talked about that. We talked about the Falkirk Council article. Was there anything else to discuss? Hold on one sec. Let me see, because I have some other articles here. Oh, yes. I got this one up here. Now, this could be the last topic we'll discuss for tonight, because this is quite a long one. Now, I'm not going to go through all of it, but I'll go through the vast majority of what I've seen before going on stream tonight. So I'll just get this up here real quick. And I also see, again, 41 people watching the stream tonight. Again, excellent stuff. Again, I really do support the continuing... wait a minute. I appreciate the continuous support from you guys and, of course, watching the show and all of that. Really do support that in this case. English Sailor. Can we move on from the jock nonsense, please? It is a bit dark for Christmas, to be fair, Chief Moody. It is. It can be a very dark subject matter, but I do think it's something that needs to be talked about, especially that my own government are desperately trying to implement this as a form of like normality and all of that. Even you said Dundee is off my bucket list. I would definitely say there's better places to visit in Scotland than Dundee. I mean, because I've been up to Dundee recently, and it's not a bad area, although I can't really say too much because I'm not really from Dundee, but it's not that bad. From what I've heard, most people call it Scumdee, but anyway, let me have a look here and see if I can get this up here. Now, this came to my attention recently. This is on Twitter, and so much so, in fact, that I even shared this with some of the guys from PA Scotland and see what they thought about this. So the tweet is from Save Our Statues, and it reads, "Help save Edinburgh statues. This is not about slave traders. It's about everyone from William Pitt to Robbie Burns or Robert Burns. They want to recenter the entire history of the city around slavery. If we don't speak up, you can be sure they will have your say with this consultation hub." So we'll have a quick look at this as well tonight, and then we'll move on from there. So Edinburgh, the City of Edinburgh Council, Edinburgh Slavery and Colonialism Legacy Review. Now, this is ongoing, and I would advise people who are Scottish in the chat, if they've not seen this at the moment, what I'll do is I'll just post a link in the chat as well. Well, you don't even have to be Scottish. You can also have a look, read through yourself if you're not Scottish as well, because I think if this is something that can happen in one of the Scottish cities, especially being Edinburgh, which of course is the capital city of my country, then I would imagine that it could also happen across England, Wales, or even Northern Ireland for that matter. Come on, Chiefs. Shocking comments about Dundee. Well, to be fair, I said that I think Dundee is not that bad, but I have heard other people saying that it's Scumdee, but that's beside the point with that Roscoe. That's beside the point. Anyway, we'll just have a look at this real quick. So, as I said, I'm not going to go through the entire thing. Fuck off. Right, here we go. And then I'll read through this page here. Consultation questions. The review group wants to hear your thoughts about the most constructive ways that the city would address issues of historic racial injustice as a means to stem modern-day discrimination. This consultation is divided into Part 1, your details, Part 2, responding to the legacy of slavery and colonialism in Edinburgh, and then 10 different themes that relate to slavery and colonialism in Edinburgh. Everyone must complete part 1 before you can submit your response. I really wonder why that is. However, you can choose to respond to all, some, or none of the 10 themes. The 10 themes are, of course, there are a significant number of monuments, buildings, street names, and other features you can see today in Edinburgh's public spaces, which show us that many people in the past supported or benefited from the slave trade or colonial expansion, and that other people opposed these activities. This consultation does not try to reference every one of these features. Instead, it provides an indicative selection. Right, okay. The features are grouped together with others expressing a similar theme or relating to a particular aspect of this history. We hope that this approach will illustrate that many different elements of Edinburgh life which were touched by slavery or colonialism, even if today we are not so familiar with the specific people or events which shaped this history. We would like to know which of the themes and features you believe are most important in communicating the legacy of slavery and colonialism in Edinburgh. Let me see, of course. So I did finish the first part, which of course would be the details. It's something I'll have a look more into, say, later on, like full on. But I have checked out some of the questions being asked, and some of them are just outright just complete bonkers. In fact, let me start off with this one that came to my attention from, again, one of the guys from PA Scotland. I won't name any names, again, just because of privacy sake, because they're not really a public figure or being online or anything like that at all. So they brought my attention with this theme, Theme 8, Theme 8, Slavery and Colonialism in the Arts and Literature. So let's have a look at this real quick. The lives of some prominent figures from Edinburgh's literary and artistic past were interwoven with the era of plantation slavery and its abolition. Statue of Robert Burns, 1759 to 1796, the Scottish National Portrait Gallery. Scotland's national poet secured the offer of a job working as a bookkeeper, a low-level manager, on a Jamaican plantation worked by enslaved people. The successful publication of his first set of poems in 1786. Shortly before he was due to set sail, led him to change his plans. He never visited the Caribbean, which it's quite bonkers that, because they just mentioned that he never visited the Caribbean. So how could he be like a slave owner or benefit from slavery or colonialism or anything like that at all? I really have no idea, but I guess the only reason I can think of why we mention that is because, well, Robert Burns is a white man, part of Scotland's history being a white country. Obviously, they'll do everything they can to completely dismantle that as humanly possible, and of course, trying to make us, our people, feel bad for the history and all of that. Grave of Agnes Mackelhouse, I hope I pronounced that right, 1759 to 1841, Canongate Kirk. Agnes, or Clarenda, to Robert Burns, was an intimate friend of the poet. She was also the wife of James Mackelhouse, a lawyer who worked for plantation owners in Jamaica. Okay, and what seems to be the point of that exactly? Well, she's the wife of this James fellow, a lawyer who worked for a plantation owner. So therefore, she's bad because she married a slave owner. Okay, like was again like sorry, excuse me. What's your point exactly? Another one here: portrait of Robert Cunningham Graham of Gartmore. I hope I pronounced that right. 1735 to 1797 by Henry Rayburn. 1756 to 1823, the Scottish National Portrait Gallery. Robert Cunningham Graham owned plantations and enslaved people. Rayburn painted many plantation owners and so indirectly profited from slavery. That's just pure. This is such fucking bonkers, this. Well, I couldn't believe some of the questions like being asked. It really, actually, let me see if I can find another example of this, because there was something about education, which of course, they're going to try and shove this down our children's throats regarding to this. Now, where the hell have I seen that? was it maybe the second part? Wasn't that something about active learning? Ah, here we go. Right, check this out. Right, three, active learning. The council has committed to introduce modules on Black history and culture at every phase of secondary school education in Edinburgh. However, there are many other ways, that both formal and informal learning about this legacy can be encouraged at different ages and stages of life, and partners who could be involved. Please take all of the options which you feel are most constructive. So the last one, of course, is do not agree with any of the statements above. But just for benefit of the doubt, let's have a look at of the first three comments or options. First one here, research or study programs could to advance or to revise understanding of Edinburgh's links to slavery and its part in colonial expansion, how these are expressed in the public realm, and the impacts they can have on individual and community well-being. Opportunities including scholarships and funding prioritized for students from Black and minority ethnic backgrounds. So basically, given these BAME types, if you will, like a bit of a head start, or even give them a special pass because of their race or because of what their people have went through, my slavery and shit. Resourcing of a dedicated junior tour guide program to ensure Edinburgh's young people have an understanding. This one, this one really fucking annoyed me. So, uh, yeah, resourcing of a dedicated junior tour guide program to ensure Edinburgh's young people have an understanding and are creatively involved in the interpretation of this legacy and the experience of their ancestors with slavery and colonialism. So basically, the if this were to happen, this option here is basically telling our young children from Edinburgh or even across Scotland, well, mainly Edinburgh in this case, but they're basically wanting to teach them that they're a piece of shit. They're a scumbag because of what their ancestors did. Well, it's more than just their ancestors, but basically they're saying that to these kids because they're white. That's basically what it boils down to with that part. So another one here, for example, is schools and lifelong learning program, development of resources to support teaching and learning of Black history and culture across the curriculum for use in primary and secondary schools and in adult learning programs, professional development for teacher, educators, uh, and of course with that in this case. So fuck you. Anyway, so it's kind of questions like that where it's like, well, of course, there's the I do not agree with any statements above, but here's all the of what we can do to bring this history forward with regard to Edinburgh. And it's like, mate, we all know exactly what you're trying to do here. You're just trying to dismantle or deconstruct Edinburgh and trying to make people feel bad for being white. Essentially, that's what it ultimately boils down to. Is I've not said it before on the show. It's a cliche now, but it needs to be said. It's all part of the anti-white agenda. That's what it all boils down to at the end of the day. That's really what it all boils down to. Um, was there anything else I've seen that really caught my eye regarding to that? Actually, hold on. Let me see if I can find a post about this because, as I said earlier on, I showed this to the guys at PA Scotland, and some of them, well, I think a vast majority of them, because not everyone made a comment about it, because I shared it on a Telegram page, um, and of course, a lot of them were just really just gobsmacked at some of the questions. And let me see if I can find one of their posts about that. I won't share it on screen again, just in case of like privacy sake when it comes to that. But let me see what they wrote. It was actually quite funny what they wrote. Let me see here. One sec. Sorry, just bear with me just a couple of seconds. Something I'll just read out on the stream here, and then we'll go on with that. Right, should be the number where Oh, here we go. Right. Let me see if I can find it here. So it should be, if I remember correctly, it would be. Right. So it's quite funny when they wrote this, but now I can't remember exactly which page this is on. However, I don't know if they actually published this, but they got to a question and they wrote an answer for it. So the question is there any other feature we should add to this group? If so, what is it and where in Edinburgh is it located? And they wrote in the comments section about that. They ask a question where they ask, who owned the slave ships? Which is quite funny and also pretty base at the same time regarding to that. So, um, so yeah, there was a lot of people who were very vocal about that whole it's not really like a survey, it's more like a consultation exactly with that. Right. Yeah, consultation. So um very bizarre stuff, and I really hope this is not a case of some of the people in the Edinburgh Council are wanting to remove certain statues because of the historical reasons and all of that. But what's going on in America, I wouldn't be surprised. In fact, I don't know if it maybe happened across in Britain, but I wouldn't be surprised at this point if some people within some local councils wanting to remove certain statues because of, well, it's partly because of historical reasons. It's because we want to appease the vocal minority. It's like, fuck off. It's our history at the end of the day. If they don't like it, they can just go back to their own homelands. It's absolutely patently absurd of why we're trying to appease these groups, these types of people. Absolutely shameful that. But I hope it doesn't come to that point. Hopefully, people will actually speak their voices with that consultation. Because I could just imagine someone like some lefty twat just coming out of the woodwork, like, "Oh yes, I believe Rabbi Burns' statue should be taken down because even though he wasn't a slave owner per se, but he was guilty of it as well because he's white." It's like, fuck off, you fucking traitor! Can't stand those people for the life of me. Anyway, so I think that's really all up to date with the articles with that. So um, as I said, I think I posted that link in the chat. So if you want to have a look into that yourselves, then I think the link is there. I'll post it again just in case if any of you's missed it. There we go. You don't even have to be Scottish to even look at this yourselves, but some of them, I mean, just yeah, even a look brown in Scotland though. But you can definitely have a look into it a lot more, and I'll definitely see if I can answer the questions officially. But what I do think is a bit weird in terms of the first part about your details. There's something there that's brought up in terms of wanting it's required to enter your postcode, not your entire home address, but just your postcode, which I think that's really bizarre. Why they require that really makes you think, doesn't it? With that, so XL Viking Scottish councillors are just pandering scumbags with no integrity of their own, traitors who should be put against the wall. And I won't finish that, but I can see where you're coming from with. I don't advocate for violence, but I can see where you're coming from with that XL Viking. I would agree in saying that there definitely are traitors and they should be called out for being traitors. I wouldn't ask for any form of violence or anything like that at all. I'm just saying be vocal about calling them traitors and all of that. So anyway, um, let me have a look and see here real quick. Just also want to quickly check on something, just real quick, and then see from there because I think that's me pretty much covered all the topics I want to discuss tonight. And as I said earlier on, if you want to support me financially at this point, my entropy is there now. My Ko-fi, I think it's called, is there now. So let me have a look here and see as well. I'll even also showcase them on Telegram as well, so for people to see. But yeah, that's completely fine. So excellent. Right then. So what we'll do is I've just got about 20 minutes to go. And I do know that Mark will be live tonight at 7 p.m. on his Odyssey, and I think also on Laura's D Live channel. So before we get on to that, is there any questions? Oh, hold on a second. If they have your postcode, they can get your name and address from the electoral register. Well, there you go. So let me explain it. Okay, parody through the streets, naked and publicly mocked. Then I'd say that's better. Exile Viking, that's much better. So, where is that link for Mark's stream for later on? I'll see if I can post that in the chat. Not now, but of course later on, just before it starts, of course. And I think tonight's stream he's doing is he's going to talk about. I think he's going to bring on a few other people. He's going to talk about the video game industry and how incredibly woke they are at this point, which I think would be quite interesting regarding to that. Yeah, I think the name of the stream just came up there, and it is how wokeness killed AAA gaming. Live stream tonight at 7 p.m. UK time, etc., etc. So there we go. Yeah, so it'll be on Odyssey, Laura's D Live, and Radio Albion. Perfect. Excellent. So got that there ready to go. But if anyone wants to ask any questions, are they playing playing computer games? No, I think they're only going to be talking about computer games or video games in this case, because I think in that stream, Mark will have two other people with them. He'll be joined by American Krogan and Chris, the 30-year-old boomer. And as it reads with his Telegram post, as we discuss how wokeness and politically correct content has destroyed the AAA gaming industry. So I think, again, that'll be really interesting to see with that. So, as I said, I won't post the link in the chat just now, but maybe around about 10 I'll post it. Deleted Cold War yesterday by Woke. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, John, because I deleted Cold War recently as well, and there's been partly to do with the whole wokeness that's been promoted with Call of Duty as well. But for me, it's just like my I mostly play multiplayer from time to time again, not all the time, but if I have a chance to, I might play like a multiplayer game here and there on COD, especially when it comes to Cold War. And I was on second prestige, if I'm not mistaken, but then something happened. There was like a big update that happened with Cold War, the game. And then it just completely restarted my multiplayer settings back to the very beginning. And I'm just thinking, well, what was all that about? So I thought, nah, you know what? Fuck this. I'm not going to bother doing it all over again. So I just deleted that. So, but yeah, English Sailor again, or a comment from him. Chief Rudy, I struggle to be inspired by a grown-up who plays computer games while Rome burns. I can see your point. I can see your point with that. As a matter of fact, I mean, I never really played games all that much anymore at this point. So I'm actually thinking about maybe selling my games console and games because, as I said, I don't really go on this much anymore. It's just really maybe once a week. And even then, it's like I might play it for maybe an hour or two and then just go back to something else, like maybe out for a walk or anything like that at all. But that's it. Roscoe, do you think Scotland will become ghettoized like England? Well, considering that the councils are trying their best to house these migrants, and I think there was something I did cover on the show before in terms of the black gang in Glasgow, I would not be surprised if Scotland is going to become maybe not exactly like England, but some form of ghettoization, the way that England is at the moment, which, I mean, it'd be horrible. And I really don't want that to happen. But again, it's a case of, like, I wouldn't be surprised if that were to happen because of these non-whites moving into the country. So, Spiffy Acorn, I would love to try a multiplayer game with you guys. I can send my stream account name. Maybe not at the moment, but because I mean, it would be fun, but as I said, I don't really play games as much anymore. It's only just really when I get the chance to at this point. So, Spiffy Acorn, I can see the point, but I'm an American and leisure time with my English brethren is limited. Fair enough. That's very fair enough. Toby Radley, it's a waste of time learning an instrument instead. You know, I used to be kind of like that. I took, but back in, here's about like Chief Moody lore. But back in my high school days, I used to go into music a lot. I think I took music for maybe how long did I did music? Was it all up until sixth year or was it maybe up until fifth year? But um, I remember I actually did pretty well in music back in my high school years. I think maybe fifth year was like the last year I was like really good at music. And I don't know how that would be the case because I remember I would get like very like top marks in music, whether it be both playing instruments or even talking about or going through exams, asking or being asked questions about certain musical notes and the periods of music and all of that all across history. And I really don't know how I managed to like get really good at that because I wasn't really. It wasn't something I was majorly like focused on at that point, but I guess I must have done something right when it comes to music. But anyway, hello, Beer Hole Pooch. How you doing? Thank you very much for watching the stream. Um, let's see, Albion Forever. I played a bit of GTA 5 during the first lockdown when I was bored, but haven't played in ages. Yeah, I think it was a while since I last played GTA 5. I stopped playing that, but I can't remember the last time I really played that game, to be honest. But I have a Steam account as mainly railway related content. Ah, fair enough, fair enough. Having ghettos is better than every area being integrated. Ah, fair enough. Let me see here. I'm going to learn bass guitar next. Beautiful. Agreed, BHP. Oh, hello, Gary Gardner and Sack of Reps. How you doing? Thank you very much for watching. Albion Forever. Rockstar games have become incredibly woke, as well as money grubbing with constant remakes. Oh, yeah, I've heard about what happened with the quote unquote definitive edition with the GTA 3D trilogy. That's just shocking. That absolutely terrible. And of course, there's that big recent GTA Online update with Dr. Dre and all of that, which is just like is it's just fucking gay. It's just incredibly gay. They're trying to do that, but anyway. Let me see here. Rockstar are based in Edinburgh, I believe. Well, true and not true. But like, I think Rockstar Games is more overall like an American company. I do know that from what I've heard, Sam and Dan Houser are both British. They were from London originally, but I think Rockstar North, the guys who developed the GTA, are based in Scotland. And funny enough, when I went to Edinburgh with some of the guys in PA Scotland, I think there was a part where we did walked through the Scottish Parliament. We never went inside the building, but we went sort of the sideway from it. And then we walked up, towards the Rockstar North building, which I was like, oh shit. I thought that would be in Dundee, but seeing it in person, I'm like, well, that's pretty awesome. So there we go. So it's a case of yes and no. Like Rockstar Game, in terms of the development teams, Rockstar North is a Scottish, and they are based in Edinburgh. I think they were based in Dundee originally, but then they moved to Edinburgh. Watching the show, as old as I am, I have such an addictive personality that I dare not play digital games. I would not stop and would end up like Cartman. Yes, I mean, to be honest, I think there's really no point in playing any video games at this point because, as everyone says in the chat, it's just all woke shit at this point. In fact, has anyone seen the whole thing about Spider-Man? There was like a Spider-Man game that came out for the PS4 and PS5 about late last year, I think. And is all I think it's Spider-Man Miles Morales or something like that. Basically, it's like another Spider. Well, it's not really Spider-Man, but there's like a side game that takes place after the first Spider-Man game that came out on the PS4. It's meant to be like an expansion in terms of the story. And I shit you not, and many people from our circles brought this up, but there's a section in, I think that game takes place in Harlem, in New York, and there's a building that's painted all in Black Lives Matter memorial, and it's like, oh, fuck off. So, I mean, like, the first Spider-Man game for the PS4 was, I mean, it wasn't woke, but it was a bit woke when you played the Mary Jane segments. It's like, wait, why the fuck am I playing as Mary Jane? I want to play as Spider-Man, or even why the fuck am I playing as um as Miles Morales in these segments? I want to play as, actually Spider-Man, but never mind. Smaller dev games are usually okay. You just have to follow word of mouth to find the gems. I agree with you, Spiffy Acorn. I do agree with you on that fact. There's a lot of gems when it comes to like lesser known games and all of that. So, or lesser known developments with that. Colette does 1 to 2 hours of live gaming a month. Keep it in perspective, people. Let me see here. They have offices all over the world. That's very true when it comes to Rockstar Games. Right. Perfect. Sorry, excuse me. So that's 9 minutes to 7. And I think I'll just end the stream here tonight. So what I'll do is I'll get the links for Mark's stream just now. So I'll post his Odyssey channel, and then I'll post Laura's DLive channel and Radio Albion link. And I'll even also post the Entropy link for the link for Mark's Entropy account as well. So if you want to ask Mark, paid or unpaid questions on Entropy, then the link will be in the chat as well. So, and there's also some similar to me, by the way. If you want to send any paid or unpaid questions on Entropy, or even not even a question, just like a comment, like paid or unpaid, then please feel free to do so. Let me just post that here. Hello, and no guilt, only pride. Thank you for watching the show. Right, just and after that, I'll do a song on a Thursday. Fuck off. I'm going on my actual official break after that, obviously because of the Christmas period. I don't think I'll be streaming after Christmas or anything like that at all. In fact, I don't think I'll be streaming before the New Year's. I think there'll be something with PA Scotland or anything like that at all. But anyway, let me see if I can get this up here. Is that maybe working? Right. when I become a man, I put away childish things. Good point, Peter Walker. Good point. I'm just in the show here just now because I don't know if it's going to be roboting or anything like that at all. But anyway, right. So yeah, I'll be back on the 23rd. I'll even mention this more like when that day comes in terms of the plan for what's going to be happening ahead with the streams and that. So, but until then, thank you all very much for watching. I'll play us out with an outro song. Let's see, and he's gone. Am I gone? Or wait, am I still here? Hold on 1 minute. Am I actually still? Sorry, guys. Can you still hear me just now? Am I just completely silent after that? Hold on. Still here, right? That's fine. I don't know what's going on with the connection tonight, but yeah, I think Woes had a bit of a similar situation last night on his millennial chat with Robin Riley, but I don't think mine's has been that bad. But anyway, that's fine. Right, I'll just see if I get onto YouTube and I'll see if I can play us out with a song. I don't know what one that would be, but maybe something familiar. But anyway, let me see, and then we'll see with that here. Right, okay. Right, music. Okay, that's fine. But until then, I really want to thank you all very much for tuning in for tonight's show. Again, I really do appreciate the continuing support. And I really honest with that. Not Stormzy, no, not Stormzy. No. I'm not playing that. So yeah, thanks again. This is Chief Moody signing out. You have been watching the Mood of the Nation podcast, and I will see you all on the 23rd of December at 6 p.m. I'll see you all from there. So take care, stay safe, and enjoy. Thank you. Good night.
Yes, we want to be free, live our lives as they should be. Here's the thing, well, that's nice. Every action has a price. We're meant to be much more than this, and find a home which we all miss. So it's time to grow up as we're ticking down the clock. Forever keep in mind, we're fighting for our kind, to learn from those before, our future made secure. We were meant to survive, to transcend, go forth and thrive. Find the light, leave behind all the things that made us blind. It's up to us to show the way, to hold the torch, come what may. We will do all we can till time's not running through our hands. Forever keep in mind, we're fighting for our kind, to learn from those before, our future made secure.